Hello, welcome today to our hangout on LCCF TV. We have an interesting guest today for the topic of pathways to renewable energy. I'm Florian, and I'm from the Low Carbon City Citizen team. We have 4 speakers here today. Let me briefly introduce Anna Terroba from the South Pole Group. We have Manuel Bickel from Leuphana University, and Marco Blumendorf from smartB Energy, and Ulrike Hinz from Urbitricity and GreenBuzz Berlin. They will introduce themselves in a second, and let me firstly say who is hosting this today. The Low Carbon City Forum is progressing. This is also a little bit of an update to what we are doing. We are very happy to confirm that we have, for our forum in Medellin this autumn, we have more than 30 plenary speakers confirmed at the moment already, which will convene in Medellin for the first global citizen-led forum on the building of low-carbon cities. We published our topic, which is called Building Collective Solutions, and that is also how we are approaching all of this. So everybody of you is welcome to come to Medellin. We will charge you no entrance fee. That's why we're looking for support, and why we are also very happy about all of our volunteers, because we want to create momentum and share the right knowledge to collectively build low-carbon cities, actually all around the world. So for the forum itself, we have received more than 180 proposals to build the program from 24 countries. The program will be very action-oriented, very how-to oriented, so we are having a lot of workshops. And on the side of the Low Carbon City Initiative, we have more than 60 ambassador cities actually already around the world. If you are listening from a place where you want to get involved in the Low Carbon City Initiative, you can simply visit our website www.lowcarbon.city and sign up as a city ambassador. You will then be included in the network, you will receive materials and be able to share knowledge and experiences with all of our network. So a very last thing I want to tell you today is that we are also currently one of 6 finalists in a voting contest, so we really need your vote. There is an initiative by the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. It's called Climate Collab, and what they do is that they look for projects that can be upscaled, that are new in different areas. And the Low Carbon City Forum is one of 6 finalists in the category for projects that are shifting behaviors for a changing climate. So go online to our website www.lowcarbon.city or on our Facebook page, and there you find all the necessary information to vote for us. So the Low Carbon City needs your vote until the end of July. So let's come back to the Google Hangout for today. As mentioned, our topic is pathways to renewable energy, which in the light of the Paris Agreement that is being ratified by more and more countries consecutively, like India just signed the Paris Agreement, if we take that seriously, we basically need to decarbonize all the sectors, all major sectors until the year 2050 to really keep that 2% goal. And of course, the energy sector is a very important one of that. It touches basically all of other sectors. Is like the basis for decarbonizing. Our guests today, we have an interesting mix. We have a very high European participation today. We're representing academia, the private sector, I would say business innovators or early adopters of climate responsibility in business, and very young startups that deal with innovation, business solutions, and research about energy transition. So the goal of the conversation today is to identify what solutions and strategies can be shared and to see what momentum we need and on what momentum we can build to speed up change and promote a transition towards renewable energy. So I would ask the speakers to briefly introduce themselves. We have a speaker round, and I would suggest to first start with Anna Terroba from the South Pole Group. If you can briefly manage or mention what your work is about and then your institution stands for.
Hello everyone, thank you for your time and for the invitation to participate in this forum. I have been working for the South Pole Group for about 8 years now. The South Pole Group has been in business for 10 years now. We provide sustainability solutions and we work in different fields: water, energy, either renewable energy and energy efficiency, land use, and sustainable agriculture mainly. We work for different, and we provide services and products for different sectors, private sector, consumer goods, energy services, public sector, etc. So we started as a pure carbon company. That means we focus our main focus was in climate change mitigation actions, and now we are providing a much broader a range of solutions, more integral to really achieve sustainability. In Mexico, we developed the renewable energy program that is called Mexican Renewable Energy Alliance, which is the first program that includes multi-technology, hydro, wind, solar, wave, and tidal, and is addressed to all sizes of projects, small, big, any project, and well, hopefully we can expand this program to other countries as well.
Okay, thank you very much. So as the next speaker, I would ask Manuel Bickel from Leuphana University to introduce himself and his work and the institution.
Yes, thank you very much also for the invitation. I've been working also on the business side for 3 years in the business development department for infrastructure and energy planning. So almost half of my professional time was there. So the other half I was spending at Leuphana University, which has a very strong focus on humanity values as well as sustainability. We also have a faculty for sustainability even, which is kind of special, I think. There we, of course, don't have the specific energy topic as a specific institute which is focusing on such topics, but rather always under the umbrella of sustainability. So we have an institute for sustainability governance, for example, or also for environmental and energy law. So we always couple that to environmental or sustainability aspects. And my work in particular is focusing on municipal climate action. So also, again, not the specific energy part, but the broader perspective, where I look at how municipalities and especially the administrative bodies deal with doing climate protection and how to motivate actors and build local networks. So this is the thing I do, and of course also how far they include sustainability aspects in their work. This is more or less my topic of focus currently.
Okay, thank you. As next speaker, I would ask Dr. Marco Blumendorf from smartB Energy for the introduction.
Thank you very much. Yeah, my name is Marco Blumendorf. I'm the CTO of smartB Energy Management GmbH. At that company, we do electricity monitoring for commercial buildings. So we basically put a smart meter into commercial buildings to make the energy use of the building more transparent. That's the overall energy use, and then our main focus is on building algorithms that automatically analyze the energy usage and based on this analysis provide energy savings measures, hints, tips, how you can improve the energy consumption of the building. We're currently rolling this hardware and software solution out in Germany, and we also have pilot installations in a couple of other European countries and also worldwide. We're finding some interesting stuff, especially related to electrical cars and renewable energies. So, like an electrical car, for example, can double the energy consumption of a building on that day. Things like that are very interesting findings based on the solution that we're rolling out. Besides that, I'm also organizing or founding the GreenBuzz association here in Berlin together with Ulrike, and we're organizing sustainability drinks events around the topic of sustainability.
Yes, we might talk also more about the importance of this. And as a last introduction, but certainly not least, I would ask Ulrike Hinz to introduce herself.
Hi, thanks for the invitation. My name is Ulrike Hinz. I'm a project manager at Uvitricity since 2 years now. And Uvitricity is working at the intersection of energy and electromobility. So the keyword electric cars has already been mentioned. We're doing a new approach to charging infrastructure. So we're rather into how do you charge a car. And we developed a mobile meter, which is very special and pretty much the first mobile meter you can find in the energy environment. And with this, we can ensure that you charge renewable energy, and also we want to bring down the costs for charging infrastructure in order to fight against the hen-egg problem you have in electromobility. And I think this topic is pretty much related to energy in general and bringing down carbon emissions and going towards renewables, because of the energy we consume, 30% is in the transport sector, and 90% of these 30% are still based on oil. So that's very important to have a change in this field, and the change is starting from now, I might say. In the energy, it's a lot further yet. Yeah, that's what we're doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you very much. This sounds like we have some very inspiring innovators here. You are really on the forefront of the energy transition. What I would like to do now is to ask you about something like a situation report. So to ask you where we are on our pathway to this goal of 100% renewable energy. Of course, we should aim high when it comes to this, because I think that more and more people understand what is at stake. And if you just like day before yesterday in Vienna, the whole airport was closed because of some sort of tropical storms, what are not very usual for Central Europe at this time. There is also in Germany, where we have the majority of our speakers today from, was a lot of flooding. We are hitting now for the 9th time in a row the world record, the infamous world record for the hottest year ever recorded. So climate change is real, and we certainly have to find ways of mitigating first, but also adapting. But today, when you talk about changing the energy use and cutting carbon emissions by changing this energy use, basically shifting from fossil energy to renewable energy, that's what mitigation is about in the long run, because we would cut these emissions. So the goal is quite clear. The question is just what are the pathway, or actually we chose a plural for the title today, because there is not only one way towards renewable energy, right? There is a lot of pathways where we have to trod or run or move ourselves towards. And I would just like to ask you where you see our society on this pathway to the 100% renewable energy. Maybe also taking your background, from private sector or as a researcher. Maybe as we have a few speakers from Germany, which has been very often coined as a leader in that field. I would rather start with Anna, actually, to give us a little bit of her, like, global, as the South Pole Group is globally active. I think that this is interesting to hear your insight in where do we actually stand on this. Are we moving fast enough? What are the interesting players? How can we enter that momentum of this transition?
Thank you. Yes, I think that everything depends on the region or the country that we refer to, because I see the different levels of implementation or action in these regards. For example, in Southeast Asia, we have seen a lot of potential for implementing hydropower. There are lots of power plants of all sizes, particularly small ones. In Latin America is the opposite. We see a lot of potential as well, but we also see tons of barriers that have not been overcome yet. Either financial, institutional, I would also say educational. That is a common barrier that the project developers are facing in different countries: Mexico, Honduras, Guatemala, Panama, and so on. There are people that are not fully educated on what is this about, especially in hydro and wind, and they have a misunderstanding on the potential. They, on one hand, they know that it is good, renewable energy. On the other hand, there's still this debate that wind turbines are killing the birds and the power plants are killing the fishes, and that is the main barrier that I have seen from this region of the world. I would say that we are moving forward. We are in the right direction. It's just that we are not there yet. There is a lot of work to be done at this point, and we have to work together, different stakeholders, the government, civil society, and project developers, in order to achieve this goal. Because even though these goals are set by countries, it's going to impact directly the society and the private sector also. So we have to work together in this regard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you very much. So I think that this is a very good lead to Manuel, and you have worked in the development projects sector. You have worked in Latin America, so you also have an international experience when it comes to implementing change. From your research, how do you see first in Germany maybe this transition? Germany has been hailed as like a forerunner, especially in terms of solar energy, rolling out large subsidies, what every other country dreams about, and then also in other countries.
Yeah. What I think in general is I would agree that we're in a good way, especially when we look from the sustainability perspective. We have this three, let's say, pathways or strategy types. We can go for efficiency, which is very good. I think that we don't have a large problem. Also consistency, which is the renewable energy part, where we are also on a good way. What's always missing a bit in this discussion is often about the sufficiency, which is the limit of the energy use. This is always some kind of missing in this discussion, especially when it comes to, like in Germany, about the discussion with the storages against networks or electricity grids, which are usually more useful than storages currently. And I think there is this part is some kind of missing, that we only discuss increasing renewable energies and efficiency, but don't discuss about the consumption part or aspect about that. Because especially when you look at the cities where I'm working at, you can see that like in the heating sector also, you can see that like solar thermal installations in Germany only account for 5% or something like that of the heat production in Germany. So this is not very strong. Which is a sign that people are not aware or do not have the right conditions to really take part from a technological perspective, or it's not as easy as it should be, I think. In Germany, from the electricity perspective, we're quite good. Like we have, I think, 32% or something like this of our electricity is already renewable. This is quite a good number, or in that range. I don't know the exact number at the moment. But yeah, as you see, like in the heating sector, and also as you said before in the electricity sector, we also in the mobility sector, we have a big problem like getting away from these fossil fuels and all these things where we have the problems or particular problems are usually ones which you can find in city. When you look at the electricity contracts that people have, we don't have information about who buys which kind of electricity, and therefore from this perspective I think we need to get closer to the local level in this discussion, and just to get this perspective from the national to the local level. Where I see a large problem currently is that the renewable energy law that we have in Germany was just changed in a way that now the people who want to build wind energy parks, for example, have to compete on the nationally about areas which are prioritized for wind energy production, for example. Before that, you had only a project basis where you could locally develop your project. Now we have the problem that local communities which want to make some kind of citizen energy projects or something like this have more difficulties to engage in wind energy projects, for example. This is not a very good sign, where we can see that. I'm not sure if this really works in that direction, but we're at the kind of point where we have to decide, do we really want to go for it, or are we careful from our economic perspective, maybe? So yeah, this would be some kind of perspective from my side.
So still room for improvement, especially in even when it comes to countries that are spearheading the energy transition. From the perspective of, I think that maybe Ulrike, you can answer that, or you. I would ask that to you. With GreenBuzz, you are also in Berlin, but also in other places in the world. GreenBuzz is a network that is active in multiple cities. You are also creating new networks and social capital for sustainability transition and renewable energy transition. Where do you see the role of civil society or stakeholders that are non-governmental to demand the change and to spearhead the change? Basically, maybe buying an electricity charger and going out and trying to plug in.
Yeah, I think it's as Anna said already before, like everybody has to work together and everybody has to do their own thing to achieve a global goal. I guess with the networks, it's really nice. Like we inform people, we bring people together, we want them to share knowledge, we want them to know also what goes on in other countries, and in Berlin especially, so they can see if they can jump in on some idea, or they actually see that their idea, which they have, which they thought was actually probably not that good, is actually a very good idea, and realize it eventually and meet other people. In terms of society, I think I just talked to somebody and he really asked me, like, what can I do personally in order to change this? And I think especially when it comes to energy, or your behavior, there's so many things that people are really not aware of. I mean, it's a really little things that everybody in this discussion and probably also people watching this would really know. It's like changing your electricity provider to have green energy, just consume this, just shut off your lights and all this. So I think the society actually has a really big stake in that, and also deciding if you have the money or whatever, and it fits your cause. If you have an electric car or not is really important. That's one thing, and I think the government in Germany is actually doing quite a good job in communication. So the communication really says that Germany is the forerunner, as you said. If that is really the case, and some things, I don't know, like we're not on the top list of renewable energy providers, so I think that it could be better, although other countries also have better situations. But I think it's nice that we have a lot of from the government as well, like yeah, just campaigns in order to really force this. So people here know that it's a political will, and I think it's easier to follow this. We now have like billboards that say save energy or whatever. So there is actually something happening in energy efficiency, although it could always be more. What is really important though is the big companies as well, and I think they have the most responsibility to change everything. They are the lobbyists that are very closely connected to politics. That's a really big issue in electromobility, especially because Germany is a car country, so the automobile companies really have a lot of power here. And also energy companies, of course, can completely change the way that we move to. So I think citizens, yes, in a small scale, that's very important. Equally, or maybe even more important, is the companies. But again, citizens working at companies. So it's all interrelated, I'd say.
Yeah, that's a nice lead into to a statement by Marco. So how do you see this? You know, because when you are a citizen working in a company, just as Ulrike mentioned, now you can go there in the company and you can do your day-to-day job. But you can also do your day-to-day job with an agenda. You know, you can do it and say like, I really want to be part of this energy transition, and I need to work even with more effect on this energy transition. Do you? How important is such a motivation when you are trying to implement the new technologies and mainstream new technologies?
I think it's very important, this kind of motivation. For our company, one of the main reasons why, or main ways also how we get employees, is because people approach us and say, hey, I've done computer science and programming and worked in e-commerce businesses for a while, but I'm so sick of this. I want to do something meaningful, something useful. And they actually come for that reason to work with us, and they see the meaning and that it makes sense to work on the energy transition. I mean, what we do, like making energy use transparent, is just a small step. But it's the first step, and it's an important step, because at the moment, companies here, they get a yearly bill. If you're lucky, they get a monthly bill, and they have no insights, no overview of how they consume electricity and what their electricity is used for. And making this transparent and give, in our case, companies insights in their electricity usage is a very important aspect. And yeah, our employees actually want to work on this, and they like finding some meaning in the job they're doing. And there are also there's a lot of traction in doing the same thing for private households. It has, let's say, bigger commercial barriers, because it's more difficult to find a viewable business model in terms of the money you can actually save in a private household compared to the technology you would have to install to save this money. But yeah, I think a lot of people doing a lot of small things. That's what you need, right? And that's also what you see in personal motivation and what people are looking for in their jobs at the moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that this motivation. Well, just maybe a small follow-up question. Other than being motivated to do something meaningful, is there something more specific to the motivation? Is there people really coming and say, I really wanna contribute to that solving of the climate crisis, or is it, how specific is that?
It is specific in some cases. We have an employee from America who came saying, I want to work in Germany, and I want to work particular on energy monitoring, electricity monitoring, because I think that's a major topic to solve several of the problems that our society and the world has. And yeah, he came from America with that topic in mind, and is now working with us. Yeah, okay. People are sometimes very specific. Sometimes it's more a general sense of purpose that they're searching, but some people are also very specific in that sense.
Okay, I really like that notion of that there is also citizens working in companies, and maybe that's a question for Anna. You are offering renewable energy solutions, but also solutions to decarbonize in other fields. What is the motivation for your clients to approach the South Pole Group and say, I wanna decarbonize my footprint? You know, who is coming? It's not to mention like your real companies, but more talk about the motivation.
Yeah, motivation is, I would say it's a bit divided. Sometimes they have to comply with a reduction target or with energy consumption, renewable energy consumption target as well, and sometimes it's not compliance, it's an internal guideline that they have. We have worked with very well established and well-known companies, and we have also worked with very small companies. In the case of the worldwide companies, it's very common that they have their internal guidelines for reducing the consumption of electricity or fossil fuels, or even to reduce their greenhouse gases emissions and their waste to landfill. But there are other companies that they just are not aware of these issues. They are asked by their suppliers to have a sustainability report or to disclose their targets, and they have no idea on what this is about. And I would say that this is changing also. It's a peer pressure from our clients, even if it's by themselves, because they see risk related to these issues, risk related to their production directly. What if I don't know, I use a lot of water, for example, for my own products, that there is a climate change related to their production. But we have other, we approach to other sectors that might not be this, it's probably not that evident, and they have this peer pressure from their suppliers. And I have seen that sustainability department in big companies is relatively new. It's very small. I think we are like in a trend. This is moving forward, but we are at early stages at this point. And for governments, what we have advised as well is how to integrate these different programs and initiatives from different ministries in order to achieve one common goal, including educating citizenship, because there's could be the case. If I am an educated and committed consumer, but I cannot install my panels in my rooftop because I don't know the house, or because the regulation does not allow to do that. There are other problems, and I really want to contribute, but you know, I have all these barriers. So that is when we integrate solutions. Okay, contribute by saving energy. It is very cool that you want to consume clean energy, but if it's not possible because of reasons beyond your scope of action, then just save energy or make educated decisions.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I wanted to come to Manuel to talk about that motivation to change energy when it comes to municipalities. You know, basically politicians and decision makers in municipalities. There is this myth out that one of the biggest barriers to actually long-term meaningful change is the voting cycle, which is repeating every 4 to 6 years, depending on which type of vote or which level of political system you are talking about. What did you find in your work with cities? So what does motivate our political leaders to steer that change?
Yeah, I would say it's still, so the motivation for politicians is true. It's really this voting aspect, I would say, and also like the main argument which usually works is the efficiency argument, that you can, like by monitoring solutions, for example, as Ubitricity does and so on, like you can save a lot of money and a lot of, you can really optimize your system. This is usually the main argument, this optimization thing. But in the long run, it's really difficult because when you look at municipalities in Germany, for example, a lot of climate action plans are currently drawn up, which also include the energy aspects, of course. And for the implementation, climate action managers are installed. But and they are also nationally funded. the bad thing is that usually these positions are limited to 3 or 5 years sometimes even, and this is, from my perspective, not a really good sign, because you cannot do such a large change if you put an administrative staff at positions which are limited in that time. So this, from my perspective, is kind of an ambiguous thing. And on the one hand, it works quite good, this optimization thing. I think this is a really good argument, which is working. Also, especially in industry and commerce, trade, and so on. But to really get to the point where it hurts, this is not yet really working, or that is not yet in discussion from my perspective. Yeah.
When you say the point when it hurts, what is that point?
So I would say this is the point where entrepreneurs have to be on the plate, like which say have some kind of vision and say, okay, we put some money in, we don't know if it works, but we have too few people who really do that, right? So it's still like, especially in larger industries. I've been to, for example, in Wolfsburg or Salzgitter, where Volkswagen and these large steel companies are located, and you really see that from a local level, you don't have the chance to really engage with these real local industrial players, right? So this is a large problem. They stick to their typical production manners. But of course, especially the smaller companies, there I see the largest chance to involve people, because they really have to fight and get into the market and so on. I think there is a big chance. Like, as I think I can also agree to the opinion of Ulrike and so on, and in the mobility sector especially, I think there you can see that that's very, very strong.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is a lot of people very positive about the shifts in mobility sector, and I would like to pose a bit of a provocative question, because we always say we need to reduce, you know. So in some way, this whole decarbonization is also about saying yes to no. So on one hand, you say, okay, you need to save certain things, but then on the other hand, you want to maintain quality of life. We have to raise the quality of life of many billions of people in the world, actually, if we want really to live up to the principle of fair humankind. So how do you see solving this? You know, that we still want to live our daily lives, but then we should actually consume less. It's very difficult. I think maybe is that something in your more broader sustainability science work? Is that a topic ever, Manuel?
Yeah, that's exactly the point, and that this is really the point where it hurts, because I think this really is a question of lifestyle, and what, as you said, the quality of life we choose really affects what kind of technological system we put our actions on, and how much benefits we draw also from other people, right? Because when we look at the German energy system and the consumption of energy is so large in comparison to like African countries and so on, and the quality of our life is really so good in comparison, and that's some kind of intragenerational problem, where we even see at the moment that it's not like the typical difference between poor and rich, right? So this you can clearly see in the energy sector as well, and I think here there will have to be a change in mind, and the question is, of course, what do you value in life? This is, for me, in the energy perspective, a very important aspect. But yeah, it's some kind of philosophical thing, and it's not so easy. But when I was talking to these climate managers in the municipalities, I always said that argumentation and talking to people, this is the main thing. It's not like you need the technology, but you need to engage with the people and get into discussion and so on. This is the main thing, and yeah, it's a thing about what kind of lifestyle you want, right? I would say.
Yeah, maybe Yes, I want to bring Marco in. You moved closer to the camera, so it seems you want to get into the discussion again. How do you, as in your company, you know, you're basically, you develop digital technology and also technological devices, so software and hardware, as an integrated system to help people reduce their footprints, you know, to make buildings really smart. Of course, let's not talk about this whole issue of the bashing of smart technology and metering people and making the glass human. I think that's going to be something that will be solved, and that's maybe more a bit of a fear that we have from technology. But what's your perspective on this? You know, that we, on one hand, that we might find a lot of new qualities by actually reducing our footprints on one hand, while we are also putting them into a renewable pathway. You know, it's because I think to be part of a renewable energy system, as long as this is renewable and replenished, is fine than to use something. And we all know that theoretically the sun would give us for the next for long enough time enough energy every day that we can power the whole energy usage. We just don't know how to cleverly harness it. So what is your take on this conflict of interest, let's say like this?
I think that's exactly the point. It's not only about reducing energy usage. Reducing energy usage is a temporary step, because at the moment we don't know how to harness all the electricity, all the energy that we need to run our devices and our gadgets and to just continue doing what we've been doing. But in the long run, we'll probably figure it out, and we'll build more. It may be more solar systems and more wind systems. It may be a better transportation system for the electricity we already generate. We already have overcapacities of renewable energies. We just don't know how to transport this electricity to where it's needed. And then it's also storage systems. We already have storage systems, but as soon as you store electricity, you lose, I don't know the number, but you lose about half of it. And those are technological questions, and solving those will actually shift the focus again from efficiency, which I think is very important, and it always makes sense to be more efficient than you were before. But it will also shift the discussion from, can we afford to continue doing what we're doing, or do we need to be more efficient in doing what we're doing, to what else can we do if we just use the electricity either there where it's produced, and also when it's produced, because that's the other challenge with renewable electricity and renewable energy. It's not continuously produced. It's produced when the sun's out, when the wind's blowing. So you actually have to make a better use, have a better timing of when you use electricity, rather than just be more efficient. So it's a mix of all these different aspects.
And we also need a certain energy that is storable, which would be hydrogen or hydropower, that we can have, that we can basically turn on and off when we want it.
Yeah.
So we briefly talked about transport, and I think one of the interesting things I would like to ask Ulrike still is your charger, because you said that it would be possible that basically your charger could guarantee if the electricity is from renewable. So could you, how is that working out? Oh, can you wait a second? I think you are muted. Hello? Oh, this is good. We need to unmute you, Ulrike. I think. So I transition to Anna with another question. we have a lot of different solutions available, and I think that a lot of people would agree that theoretically the technology is right, or that the technology is there. We just have to mainstream it. And what do you see, Anna? What do you see as the most promising future pathways for the next years to go on? If we, as a Low Carbon City Forum, we are quite active in Latin America, where we have most of our citizens active in the moment. We are in Europe, but also in Asia. So what is what could we focus on in terms of renewable energy transition?
Okay. First of all, I think we have to understand how important the cities are in this solution. Most of the pollution coming from the cities, and I mean global warming pollution, is related to energy. The energy that we use for heating, for cooling, for the buildings, many things. And this is way beyond the control of the government or beyond the control of private companies. This is under the control of the citizens. And this is very important to understand. The technology could be there, but I think that everything is reduced to how we use it. A smart use of the energy and a smart use of the resources. And it's also about education and education. There are different levels of understanding of all these issues. For many reasons, but it is important. There is an example that I would like to mention. A few years ago, there was this very illustrative radio spot in Mexico that said, "Turn the lights off, because otherwise Tabasco is going to get flooded." Tabasco is a region in Mexico, and this is like, okay, what if I live in the north of the country, Tabasco is in the south, there's nothing to do, it's the light, and you're talking about a flood. Well, this is very easy when you tell people and when you understand that whenever you turn the light on, fossil fuel is consumed, and this is generating global warming pollution and thus floods and droughts and other effects. Well, it is easier for you as a person and as an individual to take action. And it doesn't matter which technology we are using or not. I think that everything is related to smart use of all the resources, reduce, buy locally, because everything is interconnected. And I think that we have not understood yet that everything is interconnected. And whenever I buy something, if it's wrapped with plastic and more plastic and more plastic, it's not the waste that I am sending to the landfill. It's also the energy that is spent into wrapping that thing that I am buying, and the energy used to transport the packaging and the product, and so I can buy my thing all wrapped with plastic, you know. So the point is educating people and also trying to be more aware of this and managing our resources more correctly. Because the main solution, I think, is these very small actions that make a huge impact if these small actions are addressed in the right direction or in the same direction.
Mm-hmm. Where do you see, I would like to ask Manuel, when it comes to municipalities, when we as citizens work with municipalities, what would be your suggestions to try to convince them about the necessity and the urgency of energy transition?
You mean rather the politicians or the citizens rather? What's
well, from the side of the citizens, how can we make our politicians in the cities where we are? How can we create more demand for or more constituency for energy transition?
Yeah, I think exactly what we are currently doing in this moment is that we simply raise our voices somehow. I think like getting into the discussion and showing that there is something going on. Like, for example, in Germany, which in several cities where we have this thing which is called critical mass. I don't know, you probably know that, all the people from Germany, where it's some kind of bicycle demonstration where the streets are filled with bicycles, and some kind of they don't stop the traffic, but they can do some kind of long bicycle run with thousands of people, and such things are very important from my perspective. So simply making things which are visible, and from my perspective, this is something we can do, and that's it. And of course, also like I fully agree to the education part, that people are aware of what their daily actions really, what kind of impact there is, right? And it's that there are impacts which are connected to other regions of the world even, right? So this is a very important thing. Yeah, I think two aspects I would like to mention also is like what's sometimes missing is that, from my perspective, that energy is currently too cheap. Especially in Germany, from my perspective at least, like we have a lot of exceptions for energy taxes for larger companies, so they are excluded from a lot of costs and exempted. So this is, I think, a wrong signal, because finally, when you produce at low energy costs, nobody will think about that there was so much energy involved in producing these products which I'm currently using, right? So this is a thing where we should be more honest with the prices we put on production and products and resources we use for our daily lives, and not only in the direct moment, but like in the whole production chain. I think this is an important aspect. And there's a last one which I would like maybe some of the people who are more in the mobility field. I'm always interested in this question also, like the material use we have in all the new technologies like electromobility and also storages and so on. We use a lot of rare earth metals, for example. And I think this is another thing we will have to face in the future. Currently, maybe it's not a problem, but when we think about globalizing e-mobility or more digitalization, then this could be also a bottleneck in my perspective. I don't know all the numbers about that, but that would be also a thing where we need some more foresight, I think, which also fits to the production chain perspective. Yeah.
So we might hit some sort of bottleneck when it comes to shifting towards renewable energy. Is that from a systems perspective? Do you think we are going to be fast enough? Because basically now we sit on this still available fossil fuel reserve, which is getting dirtier and dirtier day by day. So basically the clean times of fossil fuels are over, and now we have to basically burn soil. In the case of tar sands to feed our energy appetite, or drill really deep, really risky holes into the Earth's crust, so that the main aim what we have is to use that energy available to transition towards renewables. And the big question is, are we going to be fast enough to manage that transition, right? While we have very few or very precious materials and metals available.
Yeah.
Is it something you are also dealing with, or where you have insights on?
Not in detail yet. I would have to ask a colleague. She's especially looking at resource strategies of several nations. So. I'm not sure about, and I wouldn't say that. I think we can manage that, but we will have to be aware of it, because, like, in my own case, like I studied environmental engineering and was like on this hype of renewable energies, you could say, in Germany, and I never have been thinking about resources or metals during my studies, right? So this is something where we need to be a bit more foresighted in our education also, right? So think about future problems we could meet and or we could face, and therefore I think this education part and this foresight, this is very important, I think. And if we don't include that also in our policies, then I'm not sure if we will be successful. But probably then with again the poorer countries which have the problems. And because in Germany, I guess we're always on track also with e-mobility and so on. We can save all the resources we need and so on for a transition, but in other countries, when they just start, they don't have all the strategies and all the production chains set up, so this could be a problem. Yeah, I don't know. I hope the best. Yeah, and I also hope, like, for example, in Bolivia and all the lithium mines and so on, that they are so smart that they don't sell out their land and areas. Like, this will be a future resource they will need, and they can also build on in order to yeah, increase the quality of life in their country, right? So an economic resource, which is very important from my perspective.
Mm-hmm. So this is a very important point, I think, to make, that that energy is always also related to social issues, and your energy footprint, as people such as Ivan Illich said, is also defining, or you can from your energy footprint, like combine back or look back to what to what basically what part of society you belong to, or you know, like if you are one of the 1%, you might be using really a lot of energy as compared to being one of the bottom 40% or so on and so forth. So energy transition also has this certain aspect of social justice and social equity. Is that something what is also a concern in the work in your companies? Because when we find that a lot of new companies, when they deal with those things, that they are also or new initiatives, that they are, you know, they want to deal, for example, with providing clean energy, but they are very aware of other issues that are related to it. So, you know, so I think that it is encouraging to see that that our thinking is becoming more holistic in a lot of ways. And so, as you said, as an environmental scientist, you know, you start thinking about social justice, or, you know, like people who are working on building technology will start to or necessarily have to think about precious metals or so on and so forth. I wanted to ask a question to Anna. When you work with large companies, how important is for them those aspects? How holistically do they see it? Now, are there examples out there of companies that say, oh, we have a responsibility for our grandchildren and that's why we do it? Or most of them are doing a good thing because they have to write the right sustainability reports?
Well, I think that the level of motivation is different, and the evolution of the motivation reason is also different from one company to another. But I would say that corporate social responsibility is out there. Sometimes it's not going through the right direction. That is what we have seen in most companies, that they do want to make a difference, they just don't know how exactly to do it. They just want trees, for example, but they don't have like a methodology for really measuring the impacts of those trees. Or, I mean, I'm not saying that this is not a good initiative. It's just that sometimes it's not well educated enough or well planned. Sometimes it is. There are companies that are doing it very, very well, and that they are very aware of the benefits or the benefits associated to their initiatives. Let's plant trees, and also let's involve the communities, empowering the women or the I don't know, indigenous people, neighboring region, and let's teach them how to grow sustainable products for self-use or things like that, which is really good. There are companies that do want to go there, but they are, you know, in the learning process. And let me go back to my example of trees, because we have seen that it's very common, at least in Latin America, which is the region that I have been working the most. And it is very good. It's just that sometimes it's not even the right tree to plant in that particular region. And that could entail other type of problems instead of the benefits that they are looking for. So, but this is normal, and this is part of the process, right? It is better to have that willingness and that motivation than not to have it at all. So it's again educating not only citizens but corporate citizens as well, and trying to come up together with a plan, because at the end, we all need from each other, right? And the more benefits I see from one company, the more I would feel comfortable with their products or services, or if I am an employee, that would bring me more loyalty for the company and things like that. So they are also moving in the right direction. But again, it's a very new topic, or a relatively new topic, and we have to do still many things with the purpose of implementing in the right direction and actually to achieve those goals. What is not measured cannot be improved. So that would be the first thing. Most companies in Mexico, at least, they are starting doing their carbon footprint estimation. Other companies worldwide are starting with a water footprint, but all these efforts are very new. We just have to coordinate better.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much. So this is a wide discussion on renewable energy, and I'm sure it's not the last one. What we are going to have. Thank you very much for participating, and we will have a final round now of questions for you. Is there some other comment that one of you wanted to make? Some questions from one to another, or some remarks? Yes, Ulrike. One remark here. You just said magically Ulrike jumped from one chat window into the chat window of Marco, because there was a problem with her microphone. Okay, you had a remark to make. Sorry for the technical problem before.
Yeah, no worries. Just to the question that was raised before about like scarce resources that we have for cars, for example, like all the scarce metals and everything we have in there. It's really funny if you try to find resources on that. Obviously, you just started, it just becomes important as well. But in many resources you can find, even from Fraunhofer and like actually like really well-known and renowned institutes, you can find that, hey, no problem, all the resources we need are definitely actually enough for 2050. And that is, I find, pretty ridiculous, because 2050 is really, really close ahead, and there's nothing that really goes beyond this. I think it's not. I think the reuse of these resources is fine, of batteries, for example, but really, like, there should be a lot more research in that, like how we can actually do, if we go to this path, how we can actually sustain that in future.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I'm very sorry, but now you made me think of another question, which I think is really interesting. I have been at a conference yesterday on the topic of decarbonization in the transport sector, and the time frame was the year 2050, and a lot of people there were saying things like, you know, normally I'm only thinking like for the next year or for the next few months, but then to think about 2050, that's really inspiring, and that really opens my perspectives, or you know, that's really uncommon for me. And with our NGO Smarter Than Car, we did a project last year to basically backcast the change in the mobility system from 2050, when we suppose that we have no more fossil fuels available, and then to think about what sort of change do we need to achieve that. And in that process, I also found that many people were like, "Oh my God, 2050! This is too far away from me. I am not interested in this because I don't this is just like too far, or older people would say, oh, by 2050 I'm dead already, it doesn't concern me, you know, like things like that. But I think when we have like this grand task of transitioning our energy system towards zero fossil fuels, 100% renewables, we need to take this perspective. Do you see that more and more people are able and willing to take this flight height, as we would say, you know, like this perspective? I mean, this is, or is that something what you also encounter? You know, when you ask, like, do you think that the renewable energy transition until 2050 is possible? And then people say, like, no, I'm not interested in this path. I'm more interested to save the 1% until next year and not the 100% until 2050. Maybe I think that this is it would be good to start with you, Manuel. Although you.
Okay. Okay. So when I've experienced, especially in the cities in Germany, so and there I can say that some of the cities already have some kind of pathways, but they only had for 2050. So and there are usually no real visions or something about that go like to 100 or 200 years even. So this is, I think, not existing at the moment. And also, especially in the political arena, I don't see that really. And I don't know, I don't, that's a cultural thing also, but like in Germany, I think I have the feeling that the connection between different generations was better in earlier days, like that you have you lived together with your grandmother and so on, right? Or you were closer connected. That's at least my personal feeling. Maybe the other people from Germany can comment on that if they have the same feeling. But I think that the thing of how we live together, right, is also affecting how far we think between between different generations. And from my feeling currently, this is not as strong as, or could be better, right? So we could be better connected between different generations. So this is a thing where we could start to at least get aware again of there are different generations and we are all some kind of depending on each other, right? So from my perspective, I see kind of critical at the moment. I don't know what's your opinion on that. That's just a personal impression, not backed up by research.
Yeah, is there something what you want to say about this, Marco?
I think it has an upside and a downside to look so far in the future, right? So on one hand side, it's good to have the big overview and like a long-term goal that you're focusing on, but on the other side, it takes away the focus from the small steps you can do now. And what I noticed with people is that they get into this trap. If I can't do it perfectly, then I'm not going to do anything at all. And having this big picture and looking so far ahead in the future actually like emphasizes this trap for people. There are so many things you can do right now, and yeah, they all contribute. They're not perfect. They don't solve the problem, but they're all small steps towards a solution, a big solution and a good solution. And I think it's more important that a lot of people take these small steps now than that some people, you know, think big and plan the big thing. Both aspects are important, but people shouldn't get trapped into this.
Okay, that's quite interesting. So some change now is better than the perfect change sometime in the future. In some way.
It's the whole thing is a process. Like you move along and you improve things while you go. If someone would have the perfect solution, then we could just put it in place. But no one knows, so we need a lot of small steps and iterations to figure out how to actually do it and how to solve it.
Okay, Anna, what are your thoughts on this? Maybe with perspectives from a different cultural background than Germany. You know, what in the Americas, maybe.
Yeah, that is also this also has to do with social justice. Most people can know that moving towards sustainability is good, that buying locally and organic is good or better, then renewable energy is the future, well, the present and what has to do. But if they don't have a fair income to sustain their families, it doesn't matter at the end. So what I have seen in Honduras, in Guatemala, Mexico, and Colombia, other countries that I have worked, this is what I have seen. People cannot, especially from rural areas, they are committed. They have an impressive respect for nature and for resources, but they are making $1 or $2 per day. And when you are living under these conditions, then sustainability, renewables, and energy efficiency doesn't matter. So it is a more complex problem than what we think, but it is not something that cannot be solved, because at the end, sustainability implies to improve the quality of living of citizens in all levels, and it entails other benefits, other benefits than reducing emissions and increasing the clean energy share in the energy metrics. It's also about providing for these groups of citizens, and it's also generating other benefits for citizens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you very much. Honestly, I could talk with you on for hours on this topic, and I think we saw like becoming so philosophical. I think it's really necessary when you say to wrap it up a little bit, to say, okay, what is the stakes? You know, why do we have to do it? There is a lot of technology out there, a lot of things that we could do at the moment already, and very often the question is, why are we not changing some of our behaviors? Why don't we try something new? It might even be more beneficial for us. It might also be a good way to organize renewable energy supply for a farming family somewhere in the countryside in Honduras. You know, to get off-grid. The funny thing is that, for example, in certain areas, I'm not naming any countries, to be off-grid is the solution to not pay taxes to the state, because you're not attached to the grid, you know. So there is a lot of different motivations out to organizing your personal life on renewable energies. And we, with the Low Carbon City Forum, we will increasingly push forward and build awareness, and also show the different solutions that are available, and technology pathways that enable a quality life in a low carbon or no carbon future. So in this way, we are very interested to continue this exchange and of knowledge, of experiences between different parts of the world, I thank you very much for participating today. There is just one last question that I wanted to ask you very briefly to each one of you, because we were at the Low Carbon City Forum. We are really interested to create leadership amongst citizens, to basically create momentum, and to go to their cities and say, look, that's what we are thinking, that this is an interesting project. Like, we want to build a citizen solar power plant, or I want to have this possibility of installing a small wind turbine there, or you know, whatever project. So from your perspective, with your backgrounds, what would be interesting starting points for citizens to instigate such change or such projects? Maybe we give the word first to Berlin. If one of you two, I don't know who wants to start, Ulrike or Marco, who wants to say something about that?
Yeah, Uli is going to start.
Great.
Well, I think especially in Berlin, it's a very vibrant city, and there's a lot of stuff going on, not only offline but also online. I'm currently participating in a EU course as well, and it's online, so pretty much everybody can participate. Also, there's lots of meetup groups and hangout groups. So I think it's actually, if you're really interested, it's an easy way to get online, even from other places, into the topic. Yeah, if you're in Berlin, of course, I'd say join us for our GreenBuzz events. We also have the topics on energy, and we invite professionals and the field from every direction, basically. So that's very diverse as well. That's two practical things.
Okay, so talking to each other and creating momentum and sharing knowledge with the technologies we have available. So Marco?
Yeah, I would totally agree. Like, the first thing is to raise an awareness and you know, become aware of the topic and all the aspects of the topic. So that's an educational topic. And then the second part is, once you've figured out that there are issues and there are things to do, then do the small things first. And then, you know, you see that you're making progress, that you have achievements, and then you can build on top of the achievements, and then you can start more stuff and bigger stuff. And in general, I mean, from an energy perspective, I think becoming more efficient is one thing, and that's something where everybody can find ways to contribute and can find things to do. And then produce your own electricity. These days, that's also relatively easy to do. Depends a bit on where you're living and what capabilities, what possibilities you have. But those two things, if a lot of people start them on a small scale, and then, you know, people interconnect and interact, and local distributed networks of electricity production happen. Sorry, we're starting the the sustainability drinks, the GreenBuzz event.
Okay, so you can share with everybody the necessity to vote for the Low Carbon City Forum in this challenge. You make a votathon for us. It was just a joke, but of course we're happy if you support us. Yeah, this is so in this way everybody can become an agent of change, and collectively we then because in some way the market and the technological solutions will need to follow, right? And also the politicians. Maybe thank you very much to Berlin, and we'll let you out in a second to your sustainability drinks event. I just wanted to shift over to Manuel on your input on the final question.
Just have to kill the phone. Sorry. Yeah, I would agree that that you should start with the small steps. This is really great. Sorry, the phone. Sorry. So no, sorry. Yeah, I would agree that you have to do the small steps which really work. But and also build diverse groups. This is another aspect which is very important from my perspective, so that you don't build some kind of community which is together and nobody gets in. So it's kind of important from my perspective that you build groups which are diverse. So use also younger people, older people, and students, also businessmen, and so on. So this is an important aspect. And also what I think is very interesting to gain momentum at a higher level, that local groups, which are some kind of successful, really structure the data or their experience and share it in a structured way. So because when you talk to politicians or imagine their position, they don't want to talk to 100 or 200 communities and at the same time. They cannot manage this kind of information. So I think there is an important thing to kind of consolidate the information that you create, or the problems you have also with your communities and engagement. So this is, I think, something, don't act on your own, but don't feel alone, something like this, right?
So sorry, just a small follow-up question for understanding. So what would be a level that you see that's interesting? Is that, you know, like an umbrella group on a city level, or
Yeah, I think what's really good is, from my perspective, at least to start, is the neighborhood level. Like when you use things like car sharing or something like this, or also food sharing communities, everywhere where you get together, or also share your solar panels or something like this. You can create a citizen-funded project, for example. Everything where you are on a smaller scale. And then you can, of course, escalate that to the municipal level, for example, and also then go and create some leaders which talk to other municipalities, for example. That would be my strategy, at least.
So interesting advice to really own the change, own the infrastructure to steer the change in the right way. And then last but certainly not least, Anna from the South Pole Group, what would be your suggestion for a citizen or a citizen group that burns from wanting to join the energy transition?
Just get involved. There is no effort that is useless. Everything counts. It doesn't matter how little you see that your action can impact. At the end, it's important. Talk to governments, talk to decision makers, be part of the community. We can expect a lot of changes at this point, because in December many governments agreed goals, and on the strategies, cities have the potential. I have seen municipalities having the willingness to create this type of platforms for changing. Get involved, take advantage as much as possible of the momentum, and in terms of energy and energy consumption mainly, just be smart with the use of the energy. If you're not using lighting, just turn the lights off. If you have cold, just wear another jacket instead of turning the heater on. Things like that, it's something very small, but that really make a difference. Because sometimes people don't have the power to do whatever they wanted to do, and many things, build a power plant, that's just fantastic, but we can start at home.
Yes, there's a lot of really small steps, and then a little bigger small steps that we can do. Yeah, thank you very much. It has been a fantastic conversation. I will almost feel like one of these TV moderators that says like, "Oh, I'm sorry, we went over time, and now the sports program is cancelled," or something like that. Luckily, we have no follow-up program after us, but as mentioned, we'll leave you to your other duties. I'm very happy to have had such great guests. Just to repeat all of your names again for our viewers. We had Anna Terroba, who is Regional Director for Latin America from the South Pole Group. We had Manuel Bickel, a Doctoral Fellow from Leuphana University. We had Dr. Marco Blumendorf, who is the Chief Technology Officer for the smartB energy management company in Berlin, and also Ulrike Hinz, who is Project Manager at Urbitricity and co-founder and chairperson of GreenBuzz Berlin. Thank you very much for sharing your insights and for inspiring us for being involved in energy transition, for becoming an agent of change. So it's not only to say yes to no, but also to say yes to different options, to know new technology that you can use every day today to become more aware of your own footprint, of how you move through life, what sort of energies do you use, and also ultimately how everybody of us, how you and I are connected to the least bit of the Canadian tar sands or the German lignite mines, because that's where our energy comes from currently, unfortunately still to a lot. And in the end, every lamp that we have, or every device, or the cell phone that we charge, requires that energy. So thank you very much, and we are happy to keep in touch. All the viewers, you can see the Hangout also recorded. you just need to visit our website, www.lowcarbon.city, so www.lowcarbon.city, and there you find the details how to find our YouTube channel, or you just follow the hashtag #LCCFTV, or also search for Low Carbon City on YouTube. Meanwhile, we should be high enough up in the ranking so that you easily find us. And last but not least, please vote for us in the MIT Climate Collab contest that is on at the moment. We are collecting the votes because we really think that our initiative deserves that support. So thank you very much to all the guests, and have a great day, and see you at the next Hangout. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Thanks
everybody. Thanks, Florian.